Hello, everybody. We are back again. If you're joining us on the stream and go, what just happened? Well, I forgot to hit the sound button. So we got 50 minutes into a show, and then we had to redo it again. So very sorry. And I know it's working this time. Thank you, phone. I hate technology. Technology can go die in a big fire. But yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the actual show which you're going to hear. This is the Wrestling Rewind, episode 53, and we have a lot to get through this week. We're going to pick up where we left off, and we're going to cover Hard to Kill 2021. We're going to do an abbreviated version of it, and then we're going to continue on to the show that we were doing. Dave, welcome to the show for real this time.
Yeah, it's a great day for wrestling, everybody, and welcome back to the only show hosted by people that don't hate wrestling. Actually, I think some of the confusion there, Dara, was the fact that I wasn't in my normal regalia. Now I'll actually look like the normal.
Now you look. Well, I'm back in my video store, Dave. So help yourself to some snacks.
I'm going glassesless tonight. Welcome to a new year. This is episode 53. This year, no glasses. That's what's happening. We're gonna do it like Daniel Tosh. We're just gonna change up the wardrobe once a year. We'll figure it out. But we got a lot of stuff that's great that's dropping here on YouTube this week, along with our show. We'll also have a couple little things. And of course, you can get to it by going directly to thewrestlingrewind.com. That will take you to our YouTube channel. And I am excited to cover some great things in wrestling.
Absolutely.
And,
well, look, what I will say is on the channel, if you want stuff first, subscribe. You'll get it. As you see, we're trying some new different things on the channel. So just kind of roll with it and let us know what you like, what you don't like, and then we can kind of work to that.
We know you guys are listening. So just throw some advice at us. Hey, you like this? You don't like that? I need to buy a new hat because you don't like it. Fine, let me know.
Yeah, and a huge shout out to our honestly quite massive listener base on Phoenix FM and on the True Penny channel. You guys are great. We know you're listening. Join us live. We tape every Friday night. We aim to start at 11:30. We're in an hour. We're 50 minutes late. But hey, we were streaming. Just nobody was on to tell us that there was no sound, which would have been good to know. So I blame you guys.
So you're saying it's our listeners' fault?
Absolutely.
That you messed
up.
It
100% is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that. It's a Chex Mix kind of night, so why not?
But no, seriously, guys, we would really love to have you guys on the stream with us. We have a live chat there, and no one moderates it, so come in and.
We're not sponsored, but Chex Mix is the theme of tonight.
For sure. Well, see, I haven't got any behind me, Dave. I have some M&Ms and some.
A lot of candy.
I have a lot of candy. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be grabbing some interesting things out of that. Collection tonight, so it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Right, well, let's get to it. The first segment of the night is, of course, Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill 2021. I did not watch this live, as I said I would. I did watch it 2 days later. I watched the pre-show live, and I have to say, look, Impact, I love what you guys do. The presentation of this was really good. The stream was great. The only thing I'd say, don't need to copy WWE's with your pre-show thing. I hate those pre-shows. I think just having your commentary team, which was really good, D'Lo Brown, better, but I think Matt Striker, we still haven't found who needs to work on Matt Striker. Matt Striker is probably the best commentator right now working, who isn't called Tony Schiavone.
I think that's 100% true. I guess we mentioned this another week, but I like him with Matthews. But honestly, I thought his work with Vampiro
was really good. Oh, unbelievable!
I thought that was the best commentary team in wrestling at that point.
Yeah.
It was one of those. I don't know if I really hate these two or they are the best in the world.
You know who was really good though?
Like you get extremes like that sometimes.
Well, you know who was really good though as well? When Stryker worked with Jim Ross on Wrestle Kingdom a couple of years ago.
Yes.
That was phenomenal. And if AEW are going to work with this, bring back that team, and there you go. You have the best commentary team in wrestling with Tony Schiavone and the third man, or doing the Roman interviewing, which is what he does. I think that's a great grab that they have. So maybe do that. That I think that would be cool. Okay, so that's the only thing I have to say. I hate pre-shows. The desk pre-show where they're sitting there and they're like, "Hey, so how are you?" And some like random girl who you've never seen before going, "So what do you think about this?" And it's like, you weren't even watching wrestling. What are you talking about? This is not good. I don't care. I don't know who you are. You know, Madison Rain left
Meanwhile,
Impact
it's
Wrestling.
actually the Knockouts champion.
Madison Rain left Impact Wrestling.
Is that why the commentary was so much better? Okay.
Well, it sucks though. I like Madison Rain, but I was sad
I don't.
to
I've met her.
see.
Not a fan.
I was sad to see her go. You know, it's always when you start. It shows that TNA really is kind of in the past now. You know, it was so many years ago. But anyway, let's get to it. The show kicked off with a surprisingly good pre-show match, which we were surprised was a pre-show match. And this, of course, was Brian Mears picking up the win against Josh Alexander in a singles match, 11 minutes. Decent
More
match
time than most matches on the real card.
on the card.
So go figure.
And it shouldn't have been on the pre-show. I know why it was, but they could have put this on the card. They should have. That was followed up by Decay, Rosemary, and Crazy Steve, not from Mike Hardy fame. Defeated Danelle Tashwood and Caleb Whittaker.
That's not a reference point, man.
It is a reference
You're
point.
You're a grown man.
I know this, but still, like, Harley was a good show. Plus, it also has like a really strange video game, which apparently there's a speedrun cult around. So I'll link it in the description below.
You will not link that in the description below.
Well, why not? I didn't know that was a thing.
How is okay? I see this problem. I can't attack you because I have the Miley. Forget it. I don't even have that. I also have the Miley Cyrus dance party for the Wii. I do have a copy of that. So.
That's so much worse.
How dare you?
Like, don't get me wrong. I thought Hannah Montana was a good show too, but Miley Cyrus, man, come on.
Well, honestly, I think the biggest problem was the pay disparity between what Disney and Nickelodeon were giving out because of the union structure.
Fair. I can't speak to that.
It's a real legitimate point.
If you want that,
don't tune into our show because you won't ever get the end of that conversation because you will literally shut the stream down.
Yes. Well, at least the stream was work this time. Anyway, Crazy Steve. So whenever I hear Crazy Steve, all I think of is iCarly. And actually, hold on, not iCarly. Crazy Steve was in Drake and Josh, and he was the brother in iCarly in their big connected universe. Yes, there we go. I was wrong the whole time. So you're right. It wasn't a reference point. Crazy Steve is in Drake and Josh. How very dare me. Anyway.
I actually kind of like Drake and Josh.
Yeah, Drake and Josh is a fantastic show.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Are you more Disney or like Nickelodeon? You're welcome to those of you who are listening to a wrestling podcast.
Yeah, look. So I am a big Disney fan growing up, obviously, but Nickelodeon was free in the UK, and it was just on cable TV, like basic cable. So you would just watch Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
You know, so you got all the Dan Snyder shows pretty much on tap.
Now, for those of you going, how is this relevant? Don't forget that when Impact was TNA, they were in fact filmed.
Yes.
Universal Studios, which produces Nickelodeon. So,
and if anyone watches Impact in September, like a bunch of Impacts in September 2007, you will see me because I was there.
Very true. And if you watch Hard Justice in 2008. You'll find me in the crowd chanting "Fire Russo."
Well, see, I was there. It's weird, right? So I was there like on the build up to Hard Justice 2007, and I'm in the Hard Justice DVD because they used all the clips.
It might have been 2007. No, it was 2008 that I was at. Yeah, because it had Lethal versus Dutt in a tuxedo strap match, which was
no, the one I was there was when Angle had all the belts, and he was in the divorce. Remember, he had to defend. He was in. Oh, we are reviewing that show. It's where he had to have 3 matches with all the belts on the same night.
07? Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to review that one. That's a fun one.
By the way, I would never actually want to fire Russo. It was just fun to be in the group of people chanting that, because when do you have a chance at a wrestling show to literally call for a writer who's not on screen?
That was TNA for like 2 or 3 years where that was just the chant. Yeah, it was. It was dark times. Anyway, fair play to Rosemary and Crazy Steve, not from Jake and Josh, who got the win.
Like Russo. Actually, I really want to make that emphatic. Like, he's actually my favorite wrestling writer of all time, and I hate Jim Cornette. So if we're gonna set the bar on who I want on the show and who I don't,
no, that's
Russo,
fair.
Top of list. Cornette, no thanks.
Cornette can, disappear, and I hate Cornette, personally.
How do you think I felt during Royal Rumble '98? Didn't warn me about that, did you?
Yeah, we're going to get there. We're going to
look
get
for other
there,
content on the channel this week, folks. Yes. We'll get there.
Right. So, Danielle Tashwood, Emma, sad she lost. Disappointed.
But we got to see her.
We did get to see her. And you're a big fan of her Instagram?
Love the Instagram. Matt Stryker, credit for pointing it out. I went there. I was like, oh, I've got to follow this. This is amazing. Already following.
Yeah. And you got to thank Caleb with a K for that, because he obviously, that's his gimmick, to take the shots. Yeah. So fair play. My favorite thing in wrestling right now is that kind of pairing. I think it's the most. Here's the thing, right? WWE don't have characters at all. They just have people doing things. And with you turn off the Impact and you have like nothing but characters, and I just love Danielle Tashwood and Caleb with a K. Also, Rosemary and Crazy Steve's dynamic is cool. They're kind of like alters of each other. It's pretty cool. And here's the thing though, who's the heel? Because
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
What was the Motor City Machine Guns paparazzi gimmick called that they did with Kevin Nash?
Oh, GTV.
Yeah, that is kind of what the Caleb with the K and the Dashwood thing starting to remind me of.
That's what it feels like. All right, there's never a payoff though to GTV. That's the thing.
When has there been a payoff with Kevin Nash except for monetarily? I mean, he brings in the big bucks. He makes sure everybody else gets guaranteed money, respect, legitimately. But I mean, when's the last match that he had? You were like, oh yeah, man, Kevin Nash. I can't wait to buy a ticket.
I'll be honest with you, I've never once had that for a Kevin Nash or Diesel match. And I love Kevin Nash, but I've never been excited to see him wrestle. I just like having him around.
Isn't that the hard part? And not to digress too much, but isn't that the kind of the hard part of doing a show like this? Like, we love wrestling. We love wrestlers. But
absolutely.
It's difficult not to say like, hey, but there's this one aspect I don't enjoy. And then that's all they hear. And then it's, oh, you hate us. Blah. And it's like, that's kind of the hard part. Like, we're just being honest with what we think. And
here's
don't
the thing.
Take offense. It's not.
Well, this is the main reason why we cover Impact so intently. Like, we actually love Impact.
Yeah.
Hate WWE.
And
love Impact. And that's kind of the thing. It's just because like these guys are doing so much different things and they're doing really cool dynamics. And it really like, I love watching an Impact pay-per-view and then watching something from the Attitude Era, because it's like, oh, it fits in really well. It's not like when we would cover WWE modern, and we will when we cover the Rumble, because I'm sure that's going to be terrible. There's going to be that disconnect where it's like, why is it so bad when it could be so good? But look, it is what it is. My video store is slowly disappearing around me.
All right, it's okay, man.
It's okay.
It's that
times
dark
are hard.
It's that dark matter.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Times are hard.
The universe, space is moving faster than light can. We're never going to be able to see certain stars in our lifetimes or in all the history of the universe.
Different show.
No, that's not conspiracy. Do we even have a show for that? Do we have a show where we sit down with Brian Greene and discuss the theory of relativity?
We could, but it's not this one.
It's definitely not this one. So let's talk about things that matter.
Right. Old school wrestling, 6-man tag team match, a 10-minute match with Eric Young, Diener, and Joe Doinger. Defeated Cousin Jake, should be called Cousin Merle, Rhino, and Tommy Dreamer. Listen, Rhino, absolute hero, needs to go for the belt. He is in phenomenal shape for his age, and in general as a wrestler, he's just an absolute beast. I do honestly believe this is not a joke. This is not a bit. If he would have some phenomenal matches with Rich Swann. And here's the thing, he had a really good match with John Cena back in 2004 on SmackDown. I didn't. I found that out recently on the WWE Network. That is a absolutely really good match. Yes.
You can't take a match from 16 years ago and say this person is clearly still at that level. So
I didn't say that. I never said that. There's only one person that should be given a belt, and that's Triple H. He should be given all the belts. All the time. There's only one person that gets that, and maybe Emma. But other than that, let's not go wild here. What I'm saying to you is, based on this performance, did we lose Dave, or is he just staring at me?
No, I'm here. I'm just waiting for you to dig yourself out of this hole, please. I'm intrigued.
Am I in? Which hole am I in?
Give every belt to Triple. Oh yeah, like he didn't get that by with the.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Triple H should always have the belts.
Listen, there are people who get to certain positions in life by association of people that they're involved with.
And that is not Triple H.
And they are hailed as heroes and people that we must respect. And, you know.
Are you talking about the president?
I'm not talking about the people that are related to them. Is all I'm trying to really carefully say.
Oh, we're not getting political. Don't worry, guys.
Well, if you hadn't said it, I was just going to keep skimming around it and just, you know, celebrate Chex Mix. But my point is that Triple H is in the position he's in because A, he earned it, and B, he doubled down and made a lifetime commitment to owning the business. So
look, what I'd say with that is, right, he married Stephanie McMahon, and Stephanie McMahon now is incredible, but Stephanie McMahon in the 90s was like everyone's first crush. So I'm like, hey man, that was just a good decision, right? But in all seriousness, and we do jest, Triple H deserves all the belts, always, all of them.
I mean, not on the level that Ultimate Dragon did at World War III, because that was just epic.
I think I believe you made us watch pay-per-view just for that one thing. That's your only reason for watching the show.
It's usually my reasons. You know, Ultimate Dragon wears all the belts. Gotta watch. It was a great match against Ray Ray, though, to be fair. Yeah. And hey, we watched another show simply because of a taser match.
Right.
Cattle prod, excuse me.
Okay, so I do think Rhino would actually be a good contender for a higher profile feud. He just can still go like really, really well, you know.
Yeah, he's one of those guys like R-Truth. Rhino's absolutely. 45 years old.
Seems to age backwards. Yeah. Age backwards. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Tommy Dreamer. What I'm saying is, we actually talked about this for like 15 minutes on last show, which we're not going to do again because. But
instead we're throwing in filler because Darren and I don't like talking about the same thing again.
We don't like,
which is clearly becoming obvious. Let's try and focus on this pay-per-view.
But what I'm saying is, I do think Dreamer should reconsider, or Impact should reconsider how they use this kind of match. Have Tommy Dreamer as your gatekeeper guy, the guy who you're like, right, we have these newer stars who haven't built a reputation yet, who haven't built a cred yet. Let's put them into a hardcore match. This kind of ECW trial by fire, right? Make a Tommy Dreamer's thing. Give him a low tier belt. Build him up, because just throwing guys at it doesn't really. They get the win, but
does he need it though?
Need a belt?
Okay, so what you're saying, it's not that Dreamer needs a belt because he doesn't. We haven't covered it. Really short point is, Dreamer's made a name for himself outside of wrestling. Doesn't matter who you follow. You know who Tommy Dreamer is. He's hitting that category. He's on lots of great shows. He's been on a couple Impractical Jokers, etc. He's moved his brand out, and basically he uses every opportunity possible to promote House of Hardcore, which is great. I've attended events, love it. I'm not can't do it right now, so he's got to get the paycheck. Hold on, there. I think what you're trying to say, if I'm interpreting correctly via telepathy, is that it's not that Dreamer needs the belt. It's that Dreamer can do things so that somebody else can win the belt from him and elevate it to a higher level, which I don't disagree with. It would just be weird to see Dreamer with a belt because that's not Dreamer.
I don't think so. I'm not saying give him a Impact belt. Make him a journeyman guy or some kind of challenge. They could look, it's wrestling. They could come up with something. They could have a stick and say it's a magic stick, right? They can do all this kind of stuff. It's wrestling, and wrestling is inherently goofy. But what I'm saying to you is, if they have some kind of barometer that they break out once, twice, 3 times a year, because that seems to be how often Dreamer does this, but make it actually mean something. You've seen what they've done with Ken Shamrock, where they brought him back and he's like hotter than ever with Sammy Callahan, that kind of thing. So my problem with this was, it wasn't with the match, it wasn't with the presentation, it was the fact that next week we're going to forget about it. And that's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
So my advice would be, look, Dreamer obviously gets paid. He's having a good time. He likes doing it. Impact should reconsider, well, what does this mean? Like, what can we do with this? They put some kind of belt on him to say, look, the old school rules challenge, where it's like, I've seen you do this, you talk and stuff. Because, the only time this has been done effectively was at WrestleMania against the New Blood with ECW. And maybe just stealing that would be good. It's just something to consider. It's not a knock on any of these guys. They had a very decent match. I do think Cousin Jake should be called Cousin Merrill, but that's neither here nor there.
You know what's a little bit odd and didn't strike me until covering this for the third time tonight is is it's very odd to have this match on a card where you have a barbed wire massacre later.
Yeah, that again, it kind of took a bit away from it. But to blow past these next two matches, because there wasn't really much to talk about. In fact, one of them didn't even really happen because it was qualification. Your new Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions are Fire and Flava, and so with that's Kira Hogan and Tasha Steeles, and Matt Cardona defeated Ace Austin by disqualification. 10 minutes, which the show started to drag a little bit, but then immediately went back to a phenomenal tag triple threat match for the Impact X Division belt. 14 minutes of absolute joy. Manic picked up the win. We said this was going to happen. I think it was a really good match. Dave, really quick, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, actually, I think we just straight up ran the gambit. I don't know if we predicted anything wrong. Matter of fact, I'm going to say we didn't. And if you disagree, go give us another review on last week's show.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, why not? So yeah,
and some money.
I mean, I love Manic. I think Manic had a cool little story. Yeah, you're right. I think Manic had a cool little story going into this. You know, it's the X Division. It's what you get from the X Division. To get anything less, you know, that's just not what it's for. Yeah, no, it's not the most psychological, but whatever. That's not the point of this particular. This particular belt. It's supposed to, when it was Samoa Joe, you got the real intense stuff. I liked it. It was without a doubt some of my favorite kind of wrestling to watch. I love, people call it whatever they want. I love athletic wrestling.
It's becoming that lovely centerpiece now of Impact again, where it's like, you can start to show off with it or you can drop it in the middle, but you're always going to kind of get that lovely dessert kind of thing, or like main appetizer before, and that's what it is. And it's great. It really is.
I'll never be the kind of person that says like, oh, well, we need less, we need less of the flips and all this because no, do it. That's what I want to see. That's why I loved it. The only critique I would give is I would like, and this is hard in a triple threat match, so I'm kind of just blatantly giving it a pass. Yeah. It's just supposed to get the crowd, which isn't there, excited. But I'd like to see a little more like Ospreay versus Ricochet in Japan, where the transitions to each of the spots makes more sense. But I mean,
I think that will come with
so much fun. I think that will come watching this.
I think that will come with the crowd, Dave. When the crowd comes back, there will be more of that. What I will say is, what I would like to see, I would like to not only see, and I said Rahit is one of my favorite guys to watch in this division, just because of how unique his presentation is and the way he kind of approaches these matches, where he's still a flippy dippy guy, but he goes in and has. Well, he is, but he has.
I hate that term.
It's a Hunter Golden term. It's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is he a guest on this show? No, I'm sure he wouldn't even answer our emails. So
no, he would not.
Stop sucking up to him.
I'm not just saying it's a term that works anyway. But what I'd say,
he hired me. I don't know. What do you want?
Well, look. Anyway, the point is, what I'd say is it's a term that works, and I don't use it disparagingly because I love the flippy dippy guys. But what I will say is, I'm looking forward for them to change it up a bit, right? So with Manic, I would love to see him go in there with Willie Mack and have one of those physicality matches, because Willie Mack is very great. He's phenomenal talent, right? But him going in and he can slow it down and you can start getting that Samoa Joe physicality, and they can change up the dynamic.
Make Willie Mack X Division champion. I'm behind it. That may have already happened. Did it?
Well, he was. But when he was X Division champion, that's what he was doing. But I
feel like that's when we started watching, was right at the end of his reign.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
it was.
I got more invested. I think you were obviously always.
But yeah, I think that would be cool. And it's just, but for this kind of pay-per-view, traditionally they would start this off with this kind of stuff. So, really good match, a lot of fun. Fair play to all the lads involved. Manic is doing phenomenal work right now. If you haven't seen this match, definitely want to watch one of the matches tonight. Dono Perezzo, your girl, defended her X Division, her Impact Knockouts Championship successfully. So fair play to her. A good 12-minute match right there. The next match, not so much. Didn't happen. Craddy Man defeated Ethan Page in a match that didn't officially happen. So it's terrible. Shouldn't have been on the card. But look, it was what it was. I kind of reset things for a 19-minute war with Eddie Edwards defeating Sammy Callahan in a barbed wire massacre match. I think this is the only barbed wire massacre match that didn't have Abyss in it.
Didn't have a what? Oh, Abyss in it?
Yeah. All the other ones
that you've seen. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've seen hundreds of these live.
We're talking in Impact. By the way, when stuff reopens, Dave, you're taking me to a deathmatch tournament.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I really want to see one, and then I'll just be disgusted and never be able to watch wrestling again.
I tried explaining it to my wife or girlfriend the other day, and yeah, she was like,
I think she just listened to the show. She's like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on?
The pandemic's got to be over first. Anyway, no, I posted a pic. If you follow me on Facebook, which I'm not going to accept your friend request, so don't. But if you follow me on Facebook,
#save Dave on Twitter.
Yeah, save Twitter. I'll post it. I'll tell you what. I get 3 new followers this week. I'll post it. But I posted a picture of myself with the guy who runs basically the circuit near me right now. Great guy in GCW. And yeah, man. I mean, even Sammy Callahan, I've seen wrestle in backyards multiple times involving barbed wire. So for me, this was like, how far are they going to go?
How far? So
can I break the fourth? Okay, I'll let you first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hear your thoughts, and then I'll give you I have volume upon volume upon volume of all the different death matches over the past 10-year tournaments that take place in the country, and I've seen them all.
That's kind of the question that I want to ask you, right? And the match itself was quite good. I thought it was a very, very good match. But I've seen a few of these, and by Impact standards, it was definitely, there was a lot more going on to it than an Abyss barbed wire massacre match. Now, that's not to say anything about Abyss. I think Abyss is great. He's one of my favorites. Anyone knows that. But
he's doing a great job on Raw.
Yeah, he's a big guy, right? And obviously, there's going to be.
Let's not shame people there.
No, what I mean, he's a big dude, and usually he would go against someone like that. Like he had a match with Judas Macias, and barbed wire massacre, not very good. His match with Sabu was pretty decent, but again, Sabu was a bit past at that point. So compared to those matches, this was completely different. This was apples and oranges. But my question would be, how extreme was this? And did you enjoy it based on that, or did you just think it was a good match?
I want to be careful here. Okay. It was a very fun, good TV 14 example of what a death match might be like by one person.
That's going.
Hold on, I know where you're going. But bear with me. There's a lot of compliments coming before I throw a literal gig into the whole works here. I thought it was very well done. The psychology was there. Sammy knows Eddie, it's not his forte, but he was trained to do it well. Let me get to it. I
just don't think it's fair. I just don't think it's fair.
I know you don't just let.
All right, come on. Okay. Look, I'll mute myself.
No, you're gonna mute yourself. All right, I'm gonna mute. I'll mute myself too. Why don't you mute the whole stream? I'm sure that'll work out again. No, but in all seriousness, it's different from Eddie Edwards. I thought he did a great job with it. Sammy's learned how to take what might be throwaway spots because an audience has been watching people get slashed up for an hour and a half and make them mean something because it's special in this type of match. And I thought he did a fantastic job at it. The dude has always, from day one, impressed me in these sorts of matches. I didn't think it was too gimmicky with the way they had the barbed wire set up. I thought they were, how do I phrase this, as safe as they could possibly be.
Well, as safe as you can be with barbed wire, right?
Well, that's kind of what I mean. The barbed wire was as safe as it could be.
Yeah.
So my issue, as amazing as the Crown of Thorns spot was at the beginning of the match, for those who don't know what I mean, I'm talking about when Edwards took the well, basically looked like a crown of barbed wire and did the Jesus thing on Callahan, who was stretched out. I don't want to. How do I? Let me just put it this way. And if you know, and if you don't even go back and look. Sammy was I think it was more the camera crew's fault, but Sammy knows better on how to take what he took there and do what he did there. And it was very disappointing to see that as highlighted and obvious as it was. I'm going to leave that vague because I don't want people to be like, well, you know, why are you nitpicking or whatnot, or ruin the match for them, because I thought it was great. There's better ways to do it. Callahan knew how. Eddie tried his best to cover for it, but the camera, it's not the wrestler's fault. The camera work was atrocious for that spot, and because of that, it took me out of the rest of the match, which sucks because I really liked the match at the same time. But I don't like it. Especially when you see it live and you know it's coming and they don't even try and hide it. At least I expect Sammy at his caliber, and a crew at that caliber that knows what's coming, to do a better job of allowing me to continue to suspend my disbelief. How's that?
Yep. Fair enough. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. You know, where you were going, I thought you were going somewhere else.
I know, that's why you need to be quiet so I can get it out.
Yeah, so I'm glad to hear. You know, sometimes I get too Alex Jonesy on this where I need to just, you know, I cut you off too much and I got to stop doing that. But it is what it is, right?
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. But yeah, look, the match for what it was, I think it's a very good introduction. You know, I wouldn't be expecting people to be hacking each other up. You know, it went further than you see in AEW, but not too far where people are going to be like, this, you can't do that, right?
It's a 3-year feud that's getting bloodier and bloodier. It had to happen.
That's true. Like, you know, where else are you going to go from here? That's the thing. Do you think this is it, or?
Nah, they got nothing else to do. There's a bit, stuff going on.
Yeah.
It'll continue. Okay. But where it goes from here, I don't know. I have ideas. Sammy knows them all, so I don't need to pitch them. Right. Let me ask you this. Did you enjoy this, or did you enjoy Omega versus Moxley?
Yeah. I enjoyed
that was
Omega.
more theatrical.
Yeah, I enjoy. See, that's the thing. Because I'm not a death match person, right? I like WWE Attitude Era violence, right? Obviously.
Okay.
So there is a point where I'm like, you know, and Mick Foley usually doing stuff is what I like, right? So in that sense, Moxley reminds me a lot of Mick Foley in that sense, and the way they use barbed wire is theatrical, right? The AEW match was very much like Triple H versus Cactus Jack, right? It really felt like that, so I really enjoyed it in that sense. Until he went too far again, you're like, oh well, lads, come on. So I found this match a bit more uncomfortable to watch, but it was still a good match. Like, if it just happened for no reason, you'd be like, what are you doing? But because this, as you said, it's 3 years and they've done so much already and they're probably going to do more, it keeps you really engaged, because you're like, damn, Sammy needs to be put to bed, because this is, you know, he's so villainous, you know, that kind of thing. But fair play to Eddie, because this isn't his thing at all. Like, he's even more, I would say he's even more out of depth than Omega was. You know, like, and obviously it was not Omega's thing at all to start rolling around on thumbtacks and barbed wire and glass, but yeah, look, fair play. This was a good match, and I would say doing it kind of felt like an old Hell in a Cell match, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, this is a big deal because we haven't seen this. If you did a barbed wire match every week or every couple of months, you'd be like, it's just a match. But fair play to Impact, they actually kept their special matches special.
Yes.
And there is something to be said for that as well. So this was cool. If you haven't seen it, this probably was, it was really the main event of the show, because then we had the biggest storyline in wrestling next, which was, of course,
you brought up a good point before we hit that, and that
sure.
Because it was the only match on the card that went this far, excusing whatever that 6-man thing was earlier. They could be more careful with it, and I don't mean careful as in safer. I mean, they could choose their spots wiser. Yeah, not like you're saying, not go too far with it. Because the flip side is, I've seen Callahan many times where he's like the 5th match on a card of I forget psychology and just even you can forget spots necessarily, just carnage, literal carnage. And then he has to come up. So it's this weird, we have to do something crazier. And so I actually prefer seeing these types of matches on Impact and AEW, even because it's only that portion, which is crazy. And I enjoy that.
Gary used to say, and he still does, if everything is 5 stars, nothing is. And I think that can be used for anything. If everything is an emergency, nothing is. If everything is hardcore violence, nothing is. The reason, or even still, if you like hot sauce, and you eat it with everything, you have to keep eating more. Or it's like anything, Variety is the spice of life.
Well, you just opened up Pandora's box.
Yeah, variety is the spice of life, but also if
spice of life.
Derek, but you have to use
listen. Let me address.
Again, I try not to be Alex Jones on this show because I just can monologue for weeks at a time. So
and so if anybody's curious, Dara is slyly referring to me and what I'm doing right now, just so that we're all on the same page. I'm actually one of those few hot sauce people who legitimately puts the million Scoville hot sauces on everything. To my detriment. I will sit on my couch. My girlfriend just gives me looks of what are you doing? And I will just sit on my couch. My mouth is open for 20 minutes. I'm just hiccuping and but I love it. It's so exciting. And so I have one right now that I absolutely adore. And I'm one of those people. Maybe it's my sadist masochism coming out because I'm not going to throw my body on barbed wire, so I'm going to burn it from the inside out and destroy my internal organs. I don't know.
I can't do that because I'm Irish.
So am I, dude.
Yeah, I know, but you're also probably mixed with a million different people. We're not. We're potato Irish, which is just your diet's very, very stagnant. You know what I mean? But
shout out the hot ones because your sauces are awesome, and I've appreciated them.
My sister is similar to you in a sense where she could eat really spicy food, but for me I can't. Plus I had a stomach ulcer, so
me too.
Yeah I'm not surprised.
No. My doctor's what are you doing? I'm living.
See, I burned a hole in my stomach with coffee, so
coffee. Maybe you shouldn't, but
don't drink 12 a day.
I understand what you're saying.
12 a day.
It needs to get more. You could apply this to other things,
for sure. You can apply it to everything. Yeah, you can.
It's like any form of entertainment you watch. Even at a certain point, vanilla gets boring, and you got to go more intense. And then taking breaks from things also makes a difference. Let's say I don't eat this hot sauce for a week. I'll be oh my God, what happened? Last night I made a stir fry with some crazy ghost pepper sauce. And, my girlfriend spent a half hour, coughing up a lung. I was what? She's you just pepper bomb the house. You're aware of this, right? And I'm but it tastes amazing. So,
But anyway, what I'd say on this is, it's what kind of happened. It's what happened with Hell in a Cell. It's what happened with TLC. If you have a pay-per-view that's literally just that, you get very sick of it very quickly because it gets very, very, very old.
But I can watch 25 Hot Ones episodes back to back, and I'm gonna order chicken wings right now, by the way. And
Dave, always the professional.
I just figured I'd let people know what's going on BTS. But the overall point here is that these matches are great.
Yeah.
And they have to be done properly, and overdoing them, as we've seen in the WWE, is no good. That said, this was beautiful. And let's talk about something that we thought was going to be beautiful and was atrociously disappointing.
I don't think it was. No, you thought it was going to be different.
Dara was on the call with me. I was finishing the pay-per-view before we went live on the air, and he saw me watch the last 5 minutes. So he knows.
I don't know why you thought this was going to be different. I don't know why you thought it was going to be different.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought this was the age of subverting expectations, Ryan Johnson. What do you want from me?
But you still have. It's still wrestling. You know what I mean? It's still wrestling.
Where can you possibly go with this storyline after that match? It's done.
I don't think it's done, but I do think they need to. See, this was the problem, right? And look, this is no shade to Impact, right? They had the biggest story in wrestling, and there's still a lot to go with. The problem is they're the smaller company. AEW are the bigger company. Bigger company's going to have to win because it's booked, right? Impact came off looking bad on their own pay-per-view. Don't get me wrong. Omega and the Good Brothers are, like, Omega's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Good Brothers probably the best tag team in the world. But
isn't that the problem?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Problem?
It's it is and it isn't. It is and it isn't. Like, it's the problem with it is there's no one. Well, that's a lie. There are those in Impact who could match this, but the problem is they're already on the card. So the challenge becomes: do you? And this happened with the Invasion, right? Where it's like, do you pack it with guys who you don't know who are on the lower card, and you're like, you want the bigger stars, or do you build a card around established stars versus established stars? But someone still has to win, and obviously we got the negative, and it was negative with the WWE Invasion, and this one we kind of saw what happens when you go the other way, where you bring in the bigger stars straight off the bat. But when you bring in the bigger stars straight off the bat, they're going to beat the smaller guys. And that's what happened.
I made a pact a long time ago when I started doing this that I should never judge a match by the outcome of a match. I'm not abiding by that anymore.
I can't,
because it is a story. It is booked, as you said. So to ignore the final chapter, Voldemort might have won. How would I know? How would I know what Harry did? So I think the finish is necessary. I mean, it's like other things in life. If you don't get to the finish, it's like, what was the point of the last 20 minutes? I don't know. My problem here is that why wasn't it a dusty finish?
The reason why, Dave, right?
Because you've got two schools of thought. You have the school of thought of everybody knows AEW is going to win, or the school of thought of everybody knows it's going to be a dusty finish.
Well, see, here's the saving grace on this, right? Don Callis is the inside man, right? He's the real mole in Impact Wrestling, right? So he's the leak, and he's obviously the main instigator here. So I still think it has legs. I just would be cautious. I don't want to dunk on this because it was cool to see. It was a very interesting match. I was happy to watch, see the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega mix it up with these guys because, obviously, shame Shelley wasn't there. He's injured. Obviously, that's why Moose was in the match. I did think Moose was going to take the pin.
That's another bookkeeping thing.
Which would have made sense. I think they really should have done that.
You make Moose take the pin by Omega, so then you can set up the tag team from each side having a match together to the next pay-per-view, and Rich and Omega have a match together, and you threw that entire script out. And I'm not a fantasy book dude. I hate doing that too.
No, but that's what I would have done. That's what made sense. But what I'd say is I think there's more. Look, the guys obviously know what's going on, right? They obviously have some kind of plan.
We're not saying it wasn't a great match.
What I would say is, there's caution on this. Just be cautious. Don't overexpose your talent. Don't put yourself down as the lower because you're not. It's just that can happen, and perception is reality. So if perception is Impact, well, they got beaten by AEW, so obviously they're bad. That's what killed all hope of WCW being a thing after it was bought by WWE. That exact same thing, and this was my concern from day one that this was going to happen. But I don't want to get into that because that's too negative. But what I will say is,
no, I'm getting into that.
But no, hold on, no, because it's not fair. It's only been one pay-per-view. It's only been one fair. It's only been pay-per-view, right? But what I will say, hang on to it. Hang on to it. Because if we're still having this conversation, the next time this happens, then I think it's fair to go, look, what the hell, right? But right now, this is the opening salvo of a longer story. So I would say, look, let's just give it a pass, Dave. I know. That's
not what I'm frustrated. I just have a question. I don't have an answer. I don't have a rant. I just have a question.
Okay. Right, go on. What's your question? Go on.
Which company booked this match?
AEW.
Okay.
Obviously, without a shadow of a doubt. But that was always going to be the way. I know why Impact are doing.
Thanks.
I know Impact benefit from this, and they do. I would just say, look, if I was running Impact Wrestling, I'd be like, look, we have to be careful here because this is going to start damaging us. Unless AEW are going to buy. If
what you're saying is true, if what you said is just true, then Impact's never going to have a say, and it's never going to be different.
They will if they say we're not going to do this, which they could do. But what I would say is,
who does that benefit? Nobody. Impact is in a lose-lose. I mean, Impact is, not to get biblical, but Impact is basically Job. They just have to, they have to throw their allegiance towards AEW, do whatever they say, and
but this was the danger.
At the end, what happens? Like, this is Carter emerges from the ashes and goes, "Thank you for doing it all. You're still here. We appreciate you."
It's not as bad as that, and I don't think it's that negative. I don't think it's that catastrophic. But what I will say is, if they're not watching this, it could go down that way. The main thing is, it's like, look, when it stops benefiting you, unless AEW are going to buy AEW are going to buy Impact,
providing they haven't already.
Well, they could, and if they did, well, that wouldn't be too bad either.
I could deal with a developmental company.
Yeah, exactly, because it's fine, but just be careful that you're not using them to pump yourself up and killing off your developmental system, basically. Because that's what Impact is, and that's no shade to Impact. Impact are great. They're the company I watch every week, but what I will say is that's my fear of this. We're starting to see what can happen, but then again, AEW aren't WWE, so they seem to have a better control of it.
My hope here is that what caused WCW mainly to fail is what's going to allow this Impact AEW angle to succeed. Yeah. And that's the fact that the wrestlers themselves are the ones essentially booking this in AEW.
Yeah.
Difference being in WCW, it was people who some people who only cared about money.
Yeah.
AEW pays attention to the internet.
Yeah.
They really pay attention to what people say. And I think that, the Bucks and Omega and, that other guy who had an awesome grit, dad, that they do pay attention to these things and might say, okay, this was the feedback. Maybe we do need to do something crazy and let Impact win a little bit. That's the hope that I have.
Yeah. And I think
that they do have their ear to the ground.
Yeah. I think AEW will lose the next big one. They might even lose a belt. That would be cool if they lost the belt, right? Because Impact have already done it. So it's too early to write this off. I would say let's see what happens in the next big clash, and then see how it goes into 2021. But look, overall, I'm going to give this pay-per-view a solid B-. Not the best show ever, but B-.
I'll sit there with you. I'm comfortable with that.
I
usually have a tougher grading scale, but this was a pay-per-view about two moments.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, that's exactly why.
Which is AEW booking. I mean, that we've compared it.
Yeah.
Impact booking is storyline. AEW booking is moments. This was a moments pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
That's who booked
it. And that's why you see the dip in quality. But look, I had a good time. I'd say if you haven't seen it, watch the highlights. But by all means, support Impact Wrestling. Buy their stuff. Get their app. Their app is free. Really good product. I wish them the best going forward. It's just we'll have to kind of keep an eye on some of the stuff that we talked about. Right, Dave. We might as well take our break now. We have like 3 minutes in the radio. So
let's do it because I'm ordering my wings.
For sure. Dave, before we get out...
Joking.
No, he's not. He's deadly serious, guys. Right, so on the stream, we're going to take a break for a couple of minutes, and then when we come back, we're going to get into the rest of the content. Dave, before we go, the radio listeners listening on Phoenix 92.5 FM, is there anything you want to say to the great people of Dublin and of Ireland?
Honestly, guys, it's always a privilege to be here with you guys. My family was there until 1643, so
For
A
sure.
lot of heritage there. And I just always appreciate this very unique opportunity to get my crazy thoughts broadcasted across an ocean, and that you guys are really loving it. So
Yeah.
hit us on Facebook and on Twitter and on YouTube. Let us know what you want, because we'll do it.
And look,
we literally will do it.
There is a rebrand coming, obviously, with the social media to kind of get stuff kind of tuned up together, which we haven't done yet. So right now, the best place to go is thewrestlingrewind.com, which will take you to our YouTube channel. And from there, you can find links to everything. Subscribe. Guys, again, if you're listening to this and you're on Phoenix 92.5 FM, we record at 11:30 on Friday nights, 11:30 Irish time, 6:30 American time on the East Coast. And yeah, as Dave said, if we can find it, we will review it. WCW, ECW, AEW, Impact Wrestling, TNA, WWE, whatever it is. Once it's easy for us to get, we will review it. Please no modern WWE, but if you want modern WWE, we will cover that also. But it won't be positive.
And I am going to try and sneak in a deathmatch DVD to Dare one of these days. So just you wait for that podcast.
That would be fun. But guys, thank you for listening to us here on Phoenix 92.5 FM. If you're listening to the stream, hang on. We're not going anywhere. We're going to take a bit of a break, and we will come back to talk about one of the worst wrestling articles of all time, and the Royal Rumble match from 1998. Guys, this is the Pro Wrestling Rewind. We will talk to you in a few minutes.